Snoopy Blasts OFF. Sally looked out the kitchen window. "Oh, big brother," she said to Charlie Brown, "I think that silly dog of yours is up to something." She saw that Snoopy was dressed like an astronaut. "It looks like he's about to go to outer space." Charlie Brown looked out the window. "He's either going to space or he's made a crazy fashion choice." Outside, Snoopy and Woodstock were about to start an exciting mission. "Here's the world-famous astronaut climbing aboard his spacecraft," Snoopy thought proudly. Woodstock reminded Snoopy that he was also dressed as an astronaut. "Oh yes, and the world-famous astronaut is joined by a bird in a little spacesuit." Woodstock sighed. His nickname was not quite as catchy. "This mission is important," Snoopy continued. "We must get this cargo to the International Space Station. Those brave scientists need us. They are totally out of freeze-dried snacks." Woodstock agreed the mission was important, but he had questions. "The International Space Station is usually called the ISS," Snoopy said. "We astronauts always use cool codes like ISS for International Space Station, or TDRSS for Tracking and Data Relay Satellite System. It's like a secret code." Before they blasted off anywhere, however, Woodstock reminded Snoopy that they needed to do a safety check on their spacecraft. "Yes," Snoopy sighed, "but let's make it quick. There are people counting on us." Snoopy was excited to begin the mission, but he knew that these final safety checks were important for the mission to go as planned. "NASA should give me an award. I am so safe," he thought to himself. The astronauts looked at the spacecraft, the rocket, the capsule, and all three parts that made up the capsule. Everything passed the safety check. "All right," Snoopy thought, "let's go. These snacks can't fly themselves there." After a final check of life support gear, solar panels, and steering engines, they were ready. Snoopy and Woodstock entered the capsule and blasted off into space. "Finally," thought Snoopy, "we'll be on the ISS in no time." Woodstock chirped up in response. "What? 6 hours?" Snoopy exclaimed. "I should have packed a book." Finally, they arrived safely at the International Space Station. When Snoopy took off his helmet, Woodstock was surprised. "Don't worry, we're inside so we can breathe," Snoopy explained. "The ISS makes oxygen now. We don't need our helmets." Woodstock took off his helmet and took a deep breath. "This space station is amazing, don't you think?" Snoopy asked Woodstock. "It's bigger than a football field, and it goes around the Earth at almost 17,000 miles an hour. Woodstock chirped a question. "Oh, sorry, I meant 27,000 kilometers an hour. I forgot birds prefer the metric system." Before Snoopy and Woodstock got to work, they floated to the window and looked down at the Earth. It was a pretty blue and looked peaceful. "Sometimes it's worth trying to fly a little higher," Snoopy thought. "Somewhere on Earth, someone is able to see us right now," Snoopy said. "We go around the whole planet once every 90 minutes. Woodstock smiled. He looked out another window and waved. It only took a few hours for Snoopy and Woodstock to unload their cargo. Getting used to flying in space was tricky for Woodstock. Then again, he has trouble flying on Earth too. After such hard work, Snoopy decided they needed a snack. They floated toward the kitchen. On the way, the pair saw the veggie garden room. Woodstock was amazed to see lettuce growing in space. "I know," Snoopy said. Scientists are studying which plants can grow in space." Snoopy pulled a meal tray from the kitchen and shared an orange with Woodstock. It was fun to eat a nice piece of fruit so high above the Earth. "This sure beats the old days," Snoopy thought. When famous astronaut John Glenn got hungry, he had to eat protein powder out of a toothpaste tube. With their mission and snack complete, it was time to go home. Woodstock wondered if anyone would still be on the ISS after they left. Yes, there will be other people here, Snoopy assured him. This is an international place. At any one time, there may be astronauts and scientists from all over the world. Suddenly, they heard a strange noise. The sound was so loud they had to follow it and soon discovered astronaut Peppermint Patty sound asleep. Woodstock didn't understand why her sleeping bag was tied to the wall. It's so she won't float all around the ISS, Snoopy told him. Sometimes even people need a leash. Snoopy and Woodstock laughed. They woke up Peppermint Patty, who had actually been napping on the couch. She had no idea what was going on. Snoopy and Woodstock put their helmets back on and smiled. Minutes later, Peppermint Patty was on the phone with Charlie Brown. I don't know what's happening, Chuck, but Snoopy and his bird friend are at my house wearing spacesuits and laughing at me. Snoopy and Woodstock waved goodbye and walked proudly out the door. We'd better get going. We have to make re-entry before supper time, Snoopy said. Your dog is weird, Chuck, sighed Peppermint Patty.